Yo, what's up, y'all? It's Josh back with another KeepItTechie video where we talk tech, Linux, and how to level up your skills in the field without breaking your brain or your wallet. And if you've ever wanted to turn your old laptop or a home server into a media beast, then this video is for you. Because today I'm going to show you guys how to set up Plex on Ubuntu the right way. And of course, that's the KeepItTechie way. And this won't just be a basic install. We're talking directory structure, system hardening, user management, and a few tips I've learned after doing this multiple times on my home setup. So let's get to it. So first off, what is Plex? Plex is like your personal Netflix, except better in some ways because it's your content. You load it up with your media, meaning your movies, TV shows, music, photos, even home videos. Then you can stream it to your smart TV, phone, laptop, tablet, Fire Stick, whatever. And Ubuntu, you already know that's my distro of choice for setting up self-hosted services like this. Pretty much it's stable, secure, and the support community is strong. Now, we are going to use Ubuntu server, but these instructions or step-by-step guide can be done on the desktop version of Ubuntu. Now, before we continue, let me plug this real quick. I just dropped a full video going over all the upcoming changes to Plex happening on April 29th. So if you want a deep dive into what's changing, how it affects you, definitely check that out after this video. I basically break it all down and give you my honest thoughts. Also, if you've been thinking about getting a Plex Pass, now is the time to grab it because Plex is raising the prices soon. So if you want the best value, lock it in before the price increase. And also, Plex is not paying me to speak on it. I actually like Plex. I've been using it for a number of years and it works super great. So it was worth the money investing in a Plex Pass because I use it. I'm gonna continue to use it. And I know there's a lot of controversy going on right now where a lot of people are looking for alternatives, which is fine, but I just wanted you guys to be aware that I'm not getting paid to talk about Plex. Now, let's hop over to my virtual machine so we can get this thing installed. What's up, y'all? If you've been watching my channel for a minute, you already know I stay talking about Linux. And if you're looking for a solid, reliable enterprise Linux distro, let me put you on to Rocky Linux. This is the go-to replacement for CentOS, and it's built for the community, by the community. It's got everything you need for a stable and secure Linux experience, whether you're running servers, home labs, or enterprise workloads. And the best part, it's backed by CIQ, making sure it stays rock solid for the long haul. So if you're tired of these companies pulling the plug on your favorite distros, Rocky Linux is where you need to be. And I've covered Rocky Linux before, and trust me, it's worth checking out. So head over to rockylinux.org to learn more and get started. Before we dive in, here's what you'll need. You'll need a Ubuntu server. I recommend 22.04 LTS or newer. And you also need to have a user with privileges. And I also recommend that you watch my video on setting up a static IP address. That way you can get that set up, but that's optional, but it's mostly preferred to have set up on your server. Now, you also need access to your media. So whether that's an external drive or a NAS or whatever, you want to make sure this server has access to it some kind of way, whether it's a Samba share or something to that effect. Now, also one other thing I want to recommend is a domain name, and then also consider setting up a reverse proxy. And I'll touch on that later. I need to do a full video showing you guys how to set up a proxy server using Nginx, but I'll try to make a video on that pretty soon. Now, let's get our server prepped. And the first thing you need to do is update your system. And you guys know that whenever you're installing something new, you want to run through your updates. So let's run sudo apt updates. And then also let's put the ampersand in there and type sudo apt upgrade. As you can see, I haven't updated this system in a while. That's why it's got that alert on it that you can probably see right here. It says the list of available updates is more than a week old. So I got a lot of updates for this system. So let's go on in and run both of these commands, and I'll skip ahead while this is running so you guys know how to sit through these long updates. I just have virtual machines sitting around that I use for videos and stuff. And so I just clone one, and it may not have been updated in a while. So that's the result. But Be back in a sec. Now let's go down and install Plex. And the way I want to show you guys is by adding the official Plex repository. And the reason you want to do that is because you'll get automatic updates when you run the apps update command and the upgrade command on your Ubuntu server. And so let me show you guys what I mean. Let me switch over to the websites and the easiest way to install Plex. So if you click there, hit download and then select whatever version you want. What this will download is a dev package. You choose whatever distribution you use. It'll recognize what platform you're on. So you can install this cross-platform. So Mac OS, Windows, Linux. I'm of course showing you guys on Linux, but you can install it on your NASes. So if you got FreeNAS, Netgear, DC Gates, Unraid, then you can download the packages for that and get it installed on your system. And most of those have it in like a repository of their own where you can install it. But I'm going to show you guys how to do it manually on your Ubuntu server because you'll get the updates from their repository. So like I said, this is the easiest way. If you want to do it this way, I'm not going to stop you, but you have to go back to Plex server's website and check to see if there's a new release. As you can see, this current version is February 21st, 24. So you got to go up here like every couple months and download the dev package. And what you can do to easily get that is just right click here, hit copy link, depending on your architecture, and then just use wget to download it to your server and then run the dpackage command, install that dev package, and you can get Plex pretty quick from there. But like I said, I'm gonna show you guys by adding a repository, and you have to search for the instructions. I'll put the link down in the description of the video, but this is the support article for it. Enable the repository updating for support for Linux server distributions. And if you scroll down, you'll see the dev base. So this is the repository, all that good stuff for you. Now, let me go down and add the key because that's one of the first things you need to do. So this right here, the Plex sign key. So that's the command I'm gonna run. But if you go down here, you can add the repository too on rail-based systems. So CentOS, Fedora, all that good stuff. It has all the information there for you to get it installed. But let's switch over to the terminal. I already have my links ready to go. And so one of the first things you want to do is curl down that Plex key and then add it to your system. If you check my wiki, I have instructions on how to install it. So you can follow along and copy all these links and this will get it installed. It'll add the Plex sign key to our key ring. And then now let's add our repository. Like I said, I have these links so you can just follow along with that. This will create Plex Media repository. Press good to go. And then now all we have to do is type sudo apps updates, press enter, and you'll see that it's added that repository to our system. And now we can just install Plex Media Server. Let's go down and just type it out. Install Plex Media Server. It's all one word. You can just put the Y on the end. That way it goes on to answer that question and get it installed on your system. This will set everything up for you. One thing Plex will do, it'll set up a systemd service. When you get it installed this way, it'll do it the other way using the dev package. It's just you won't get those updates. But after you get it installed, we can check the status. And all you have to do is type sudo systemctl status of our Plex, and I'm gonna just tab it out, press enter, and that's our Plex server. And what you want to look for is just to make sure it's enabled, and that will start up the server each time the server boots up. And then if you go in here and you see it's not active and running, then you can go in and actually start it by just typing the same command, but instead of status, just put start, and that'll start Plex for you. All right, so here's the part folks skip, and it ends up biting them later, and that's media organization. And what you want to do is create a clean structure that makes sense. And I like to do it this way. Let me show you guys right fast. So under your media directory on your system under root, and let me just ls root right fast so you guys can see. But there is a media directory as well as a mount directory. You can use either or. I always use the mount directory, but you can use the media directory. And I'll just show you guys on the media directory. It doesn't matter. Like I said, either one. You can create a folder and you can mount whatever you want to it in both of those locations. So really doesn't matter. I'll use media this time just to make it standard or try to standardize my videos so you guys can just follow along and get it all set up. So one of the things I like to do is just go down and set up all my folders. So let's use sudo make dir and then -p and then /media. And then I always like to create a Plex folder. And just so you guys know, what this -p will do is it'll create folders inside of folders. So let's say Plex is not there, which is not. It's actually not. There is no folder under media called Plex. But let's say I still want to make some folders underneath Plex. It'll create Plex first, and then it'll create these folders underneath it. That's what -p will do, that option. So I could just put a /, and then one thing you could do is list out multiple folders that you want to create under that directory, and you have to use those squiggly lines. And let me move my cursor out the way so you guys can see, but it's those squiggly lines. All you have to do is type out whatever folders, and all these folders will be created under this one directory right there called Plex. So let's just type movies, let's see, shows, and then music, and then I don't know, photos. But you can add whatever you want here, or however you want to name these folders. I'm just showing you guys a good way of organizing it. So under Plex, it'll create a movies directory, it'll create a shows directory, it'll create a music directory, and a photos directory. And you just have to put it in those squiggly lines, and it'll create all 4 of those directories under Plex. So let's go down and press enter. And if we ls media now, you'll see we have that Plex directory under there. Now, if you ls media and Plex, you'll see all those directories that we listed out. So that's a quick way of doing it. And so next, what you want to do is set Plex as the owner of all those directories. And you can do that from the top level. Let me show you guys. So let's type sudo ch-own and then -R for recursive. So that's anything underneath the directory that I specify. And then we have to specify the owner. So let's specify Plex, and then Plex as the group as well. And then let's hit /media. And then let's just stop at Plex, and this will get Plex. It'll change the ownership of Plex, and it'll change the ownership of all those directories underneath it. That's what that -R is for. It's recursive. So let's go ahead and press enter, and it'll change the ownership. And the way you could check it is by running the ls command, but we can ls-l, and I'll just put A in there so we can see hidden folders too. But let's start with our Plex directory, or what's under media, and you'll see that Plex owns that directory now. They have read, write, execute. We basically didn't change any of the permissions of the directory. We just changed the owner and the group of the directory. Now, we can check those other directories as well by running that same command. You'll see Plex owns all those directories underneath it. Now, what you want to do is mount your NAS at one of these locations. So let's say you have a movie share, let's say it's on a different server. You can mount that here at the movies location. Then let's say you got a music directory, you can mount that there. Let's say that's on your NAS, it's a different share, you can mount that there. Your photos you want to add, you can mount your photos directory, and then shows, TV shows, you can mount that right at this directory as well. Now Plex runs under the Plex user by default. And so you don't need to run it as root. And I recommend you don't do that. Just make sure your media is readable by that user. Now, let's say you need to interact with the files though, because right now you're not logged in as a Plex user. Plex user is a service account, but you can add yourself to the Plex group by using the sudo user mod command. So let's type sudo user, and you just put in 2 options here. So a lowercase a for append. We want to append a user, and we want to append the group of that user. And we want to add that user to Plex. And then let's just specify that user, which is me, Josh. You can use this or the variable. The variable is user. So that's the current user that we're logged in as, or you just type in the account. So I'm gonna just type in the account, but let's say it's long and you don't want to type out your long username, then you could just put $user, and that'll add your user to the Plex group. And that way you have access to the server to read and execute. And then also you can specify the group, you can give it read write. That way you can copy things to the server, to that directory from, let's say, this system. Let's say you have the ripping software on here. You got all your DVDs that you got from Walmart, and you want to rip those and then automatically copy them into your Plex directory once they finish ripping from the DVD. Then you can use your personal user for that reason. You know what I'm saying? Now, the next thing you need to do is go down and access it and set it up. Let's type IP and then space A. This will give us our IP, and that's why I say it's best to have a static IP address. That way this doesn't change. But my IP address is 10.10.0.58 or 158, and of course yours will be different. But let's go down and log into our server. So I'm gonna right click and let's switch back over to our browser. Let me see, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna open up an incognito version. That way you guys don't get confused, because you'll see my personal Plex account on here as well. So I'm gonna just show you guys without having that account there. And then all you have to do is type in your IP address and then ports 32400s, which is the default port Plex, and then /web, and this will take us to our Plex server that's on our network. And what you have to do is create an account and all that good stuff. And so I'll go down and create one right fast, and I'll most likely delete this account because I don't want to use it. But I'm gonna use KeepItTechie@gmail.com, and then just type in some password of mine. And actually this is the sign in. We need to sign up. with our email. So sign up with our email, and it wants you to make a strong password. So let's do something like that way is created perfectly. And I'll delete this account afterwards, but that's basically what you do. You create your account, and then this will walk you through the setup of your server. So it'll try to get you to get a Plex Pass. Like I said, these prices are going up. I think it's doubling for the lifetime, and then the yearly is going up as well, and the monthly. So just so you guys know, and like I said, I'm not getting paid to show you guys that or whatever. You buy it if you want to. I don't have no links or nothing. I just want you guys to know that the price is going up, and it's best to get it now if you want it. Now, you can allow me to access my media outside of my home, and that's one thing that's changing too. If you guys watch that other video, I'll let you guys watch it, but you'll see it linked somewhere up in the video. But let's hit next there. Boom. And the next thing is adding your library. So you can add your library. Let's go to movies. Let's hit select, and then we can add our folder, and we can browse for our folder. Let's go under roots, and then all you have to do is find your media folder. So we got our Plex folder, and then we got our movies folder. So let's hit add, boom, and hit add library, and then we can add another one. We can add all our libraries that are under there. That's why I say it's best to standardize your folder. That way you're not looking all over the place for everything. And I'll just add those 2 libraries there, which nothing is in them. You know what I'm saying? I'm just showing you guys how to get it set up. So let's hit done there. You can let it add all these pin things up here. That's fine. Just hit finish setup, hit accept, and boom, there we go. And so we have our Plex server set up. Now, let me show you guys how to configure it a little bit if you want to go in here and mess around with it. It has a lot of options in here. So you want to go through, look at their documentation. I can't obviously go through everything, but this is the Plex web right here for our server. You'll see that's our server. It's a UBS 24. Let's see, accounts. This goes into your account information. It isn't verified yet, but you can add a premium account if you want to, and all that good stuff. Online services, authorized devices, watch lists, webhooks, streaming services, Plex Home. This is where you can add other accounts to your server. And so from what it looks like, I think they're adding this as well, or maybe that's already added. You have to be a Plex user. You have to be anyway, but to your home requires a Plex Pass. Okay, people that you want to add, they have to have a Plex Pass now. So you can manage your libraries, privacy. You can go into your general Plex web setup, quality. You can set your quality settings, automatically adjust if you want to. You can set up the player so it looks a certain way. You can go into your dashboards. You can watch what's playing, alerts, conversions. You can go under general settings down here. Now, this is where your main settings are. You can check for updates from here, but I recommend you just run your sudo app update, and it'll update the server for you. You got your agents with that's legacy. So this is your library setting. You can scan your library automatically, you can scan your library periodically, and you can make changes in here like generating thumbnails or add video markers, all that good stuff to your system. And then if you hit show advanced, it'll show you more features, but I recommend you hide those at least for right now until you get everything set up the way you want it. Now your network, you can enable network transcoding. You can set it up. Now if you have a NVIDIA video score, then you want to use your GPU. That way it can help with transcoding, but you could prefer a higher speed encoding or a higher quality encoding. And then also this crazy one down here says make my computer hurt, but just in general, when you first starting out, just leave it on automatic. You can maximize these simultaneous transcodes to help manage your system resources. So definitely check out those changes. Languages, DLNA, schedule tasks. You can schedule certain things, extras. Now, this is where your library is. You can scan your library for new files if you need to. But if you set up here for the library to auto scan, it'll automatically scan the library for you. Or if you have this tied into other applications, other services, some of those services will start a scan on Plex for you once you get them linked up. Now, there's a couple other options down here. I'm not really going to go through them, but you can troubleshoot, optimize the database, clean bundles. You can download your database. That's a great place in case you need to reinstall for whatever reason. You can install your database back on the server and get it set up, and you had to do it from the command line. I've done it plenty of times. Let's see, console. This will show you any logs that you're getting, and then also plugins, which I've never used any plugins. The only other plugin I would say I've used is KeepItTechie, which KeepItTechie just connects to your Plex server and just gathers certain information to display better information about what's going on in your server. But that's pretty much it on the settings side. I'm not going to go into that too much. You can install an app on your phone, connect to the server. As long as you're on the same network with your phone, you can watch all your videos. That's one good thing that's going away with the update that they're making. As long as your phone is connected to the Wi-Fi that your Plex server is on, you can watch the full video or the full show or whatever you're watching on your phone from that application. It used to stop it after a minute or so, and you couldn't watch anything past that point. But once you add all your files in here, they'll start showing up in here. A lot of this stuff is from Plex right here. They have live TV on Plex. You can check out popular shows that are on Plex. Some of this stuff you have to pay for, some of it you don't. They do have free shows. They show you trailers that are going on so you can keep up with all the movies that are coming out, which is super cool. But overall, Plex is an awesome tool in my opinion. All right, so let me hit you with a few tips to take it from basic to a pro setup. Now, one of the things I talked about a little earlier is setting a static IP address. You don't want your IP address changing. So either set it static or reserve it on your router. If you don't know how to set it static on your Ubuntu server or whatever server you're setting it up on, watch one of my tutorials that'll walk you guys through it, or you can reserve it in your router. That way, that server will get that IP address from your router every single time it comes up. And you can tie it to the MAC address of the server too from your router. So if you're real good with tweaking your router, you know what I'm saying? I recommend you do it that way if you don't know how to set a static IP address on the server. Now, one other thing, I covered it under the settings, but enable hardware transcoding. If you have a Intel GPU or NVIDIA card, then Plex can use that to offload transcoding. And this is a huge performance boost, especially if you have a lot of people connecting to your server. Now, one other thing, like I said a little bit earlier, you may want to set up a reverse proxy. Like I got my Plex behind Nginx with a subdomain. Now I won't tell you guys what that subdomain is because I don't want y'all hitting my server, but that lets me use HTTPS and adds a layer of security. So I'll be uploading a video pretty soon showing you guys how to set up a reverse proxy. It's not that difficult. You can even run these servers through Cloudflare now, or your domains through Cloudflare, depending on where you live and the rules they have. I know Cox is one of the biggest companies that does this. They'll block certain ports. I'm talking about at the network level, at the physical level, their switches and all that stuff, they block certain ports. So you can't host your own website using port 80. You have to use a non-standard port, all that good stuff or whatever. You can't set up encryption for your websites and all that good stuff because with CertBot, you can't use a non-standard port to have a cert on it. So yeah, this is just a way to get around it. I'll make some videos showing you guys this stuff, but I do have tutorials on my wiki, so make sure you guys check out my wiki. The last thing I want to recommend for your Plex setup is to make sure you do regular backups. Don't get caught slipping. Make sure you back up your watch status, your metadata. Basically all that lives for Plex is under a directory called var, lib, and Plex Media. That's where everything is stored. Watch statuses, metadata, all that good stuff. So make sure you back that up regularly because I ran into some issues where I've lost that and I had to rebuild everything. You guys should learn from my mistakes. Now, this is one thing I need to look into as well. And it's kind of like a bonus tip, but check out Plex official plugins. They drop some plugins. There's also community plugins. So these are tools like Katana or Sub-Zero. They still work. And you can also integrate with Overseer to manage requests. Let's say people want to request certain movies and you want to go to Walmart and dig through the DVD box, try to find some DVDs, or if you go to places like I go and just buy DVDs and rip them, then you could definitely use Overseer and people can request what they want to see. Now, man, setting up Plex on Ubuntu has been one of my favorite DIY tech projects. It's simple, powerful, and gives you full control over your content. You're not relying on Netflix to keep a show available. You know how they remove them all the time. You got it when you want it. And then you also have it where you want it. And I've been running Plex for years on a server. And in my opinion, it's a solid choice that allows you to share with family and even create multiple user profiles so that everyone gets their own watch list and you can enjoy your personal media. And if you're building out a home lab, this is a perfect addition. Anyway, that's it for this one. Hopefully you guys learned something new and feel confident about setting up Plex the right way on Ubuntu. If you got value out of this, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you're new here, consider subscribing to the channel. I drop videos like this all the time to help you keep your tech game fresh and build skills and get your foot into the tech industry. And make sure you drop a comment down below if you're already running Plex or plan to. I love to hear about your setup and share tips with the community. So stay exploring, stay learning, and of course, keep it techie. Peace. Yo, what's up, y'all? Listen, if you've been sitting there thinking about making a move, let me tell you, tech is where it's at. I don't care where you coming from, whether you've got a degree, a GED, or just pure hustle. There's room for you in this game. You see, tech is more than just keyboards and code. It's solving problems, creating opportunities, and building the future. You already have what it takes because tech doesn't care where you start. It cares where you're willing to go. You can teach yourself Linux, learn Python, break into cybersecurity, or even launch your own app. And the resources are out here for free. And yes, you heard me, free. Now, yeah, it's gonna take effort. You'll have to grind, but think about this. The time is gonna pass anyway. So why not invest it in a skill that'll change your life? I mean, tech doesn't just pay the bills, it opens doors to freedom, stability, and generational wealth. So stop doubting yourself, start small, stay consistent, and keep building. Because this isn't just a career, it's a movement. And guess what? You belong here. So let's get it, because the future is yours to build. Keep it techie.